Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a world where the largest land predator that ever walked the earth is the prey, where the sky belongs to creatures through whatever you hear career. The world this be your last, for one exogenous.
For 165 million years, welcome to the age of dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs ruled this planet for 165 million years. To put that in perspective, modern humans have existed for roughly 300,000 years. Dinosaurs outlasted us. They were not primitive failures. They were the most successful large vertebrates in the history of life on Earth.
But first, what actually was a dinosaur? Not all prehistoric reptiles qualify. A specific hip structure in their appearance during the Triassic period, roughly 230 million years ago. Pterosaurs, flying reptiles, were not dinosaurs. Plesiosaurs, Maria Innuendo, right now, those are.
Our story begins not with a roar, but a whisper. To in great dying, the Permian mass extinction had wiped out 96% of all marine species upland to wasting, outwittle wasting, a world with a void.
A new group of reptiles began to emerge, small, fast, opportunistic. The first dinosaurs were nothing like the giants we imagine. Some were no bigger than a chicken.
The dinosaurs' greatest evolutionary advantage fractures, this greatest branch of the mill on Grana South. Different pletions of dinosaurs of alpha isolation, different prey, different predators.
This continental divorce is why a Spinosaurus in what is now Africa looks so utterly different from an Allosaurus in what is now North America, even though they lived at the same time.
By the Jurassic period around 200 million years ago, the world minor web and whitecap, there were no Cadorsaguan and polarized Chiratang. Think Carist of heads of the prans.
Carbon dioxide levels were 4 to 8 times higher than today, feeding forests of cycads, ferns, and conifers that stretched unbroken across continents. This was a world of biological abundance, and the dinosaurs grew to fill every niche of it.
Cretaceous period, 45 to 66 million years ago, when Windsor appeared for the first time, transforming the visual palette of Earth from green to ever imaginable. The diversity of dinosaur species, aquatic, crustacea,
Horned, armored, crested, feathered, aquatic, flying. By this point in the fossil record, we have identified over 1,000 distinct species, and paleontologists believe we found perhaps a fraction of what actually existed.
Dawn somewhere in what will one day become Montana, a herd of Parasaurolosaurus, duck, fairly social animals. They communicate with solid crests, producing resonant souls in the Cretaceous morning.
Science tells us they likely had color vision, possibly better than our own. They would have seen this sunrise in extraordinary detail.
For the giants of the sauropod world, the Brachiosaurus diporgantaurus feeding was a full occupation that estimated to sustain weight up and after the station is of 70 tons. It feigned up by sustained bait.
To sustain that mass, paleontologists estimate it consumed up to half a ton of vegetation every single day. It could strip the canopy of a full-grown tree in minutes. To do this efficiently, it barely chewed its own stone called gastrolith to grind food in its stomach, much like modern birds do today.
Predatory dinosaurs were not the blunderers-leaded killer detours or really center and their basosectus and impressions. Velociraptors were sophisticated punters. They were live as befriking Katie during hunts, much of the nature slacks like mother and wolves.
They were fully feathered, approximately the size of a turkey, and relied on speed, coordination, and intelligence rather than raw power. The T-Rex, by contrast, was likely an ambush predator in which smell or to locate prey from vastest.
Like all animals, dinosaurs needed rest. Fossil evidence of bone withering subballerals of activity into dormancy species. Some theropods, particularly smaller bacteria, truded in far to pot evidence of forward tree dance.
Show anatomical evidence of forward-facing eyes, suggesting excellent night vision and possibly nocturnal hunting habits. While the giants slept, the night forest was alive with a different world entirely.
Perhaps the most surprising revelation of modern paleontology is this: the Maiasaur, whose name Lord Elishmins Devontan installs that are absentations in extends the extraoplastic and extended periods.
These were not animals that laid eggs and walked away. They nurtured. They protected. They raised their young in communities, much like modern elephants or meerkats do today.
Argentinosaurus. A name that barely does justice to the Riddy 7, this Titantinosaur Baltacamal layer spice and servant of estimates, equivalent to Fortfic and Ellis on top of each other.
Its femur thigh bone stands taller than most humans, and yet, from a distance, a herd of these animals moved with a slow,
almost elegant grace, the ground trembling with each step, audible for kilometers.
The Tyrannosaurus rex has been misrepresented as actually Givenrius, a predator with better than of an outer brows and estuary of large and all the bloodhounds. And an estimated bites force suggests it may have grown proto-feathers in youth.
And its famous tiny arms? Each one could curl approximately 180 kilograms. In what world are those tiny?
While the giants are will belong to some of the most extraordinary animals that have ever existed. The Quetzalcoatlus northropius, the largest of form pitched to drive and leap, Ralph fought in single up slowly in their return parcel.
Going from standstill to airborne in an instant. Once aloft, it could soar at speeds of up to 130 kilometers per hour, crossing entire continents on thermal updrafts. And beneath the surface, a world even more alien, massive, terrifyingly and dominated by mosaurs, and largest, the yes morgus that longingly sat at the abastors but shared the food tirely.
The largest Mosasaurus hoppini reached 17 meters in length and likely sat at the absolute apex of the ocean food chain. Below it, the plesiosaurs with their impossibly long necks, the ammonites, and a deep box feature the still to the age.
Everything we know about dinosaurs comes from one of the most painstaking science themselves of the mineral ghost that's existed. Fossil millions just prevented the bosism placed in as atom tribalisms, growth rates, social structures, and even colors.
The science has advanced so rapidly in the last 30 years that the dinosaurs we know today are almost unrecognizable from those depicted in the films of the 1990s.
For a century, paleontologists have returned the occultian to parentage content. Modern consensus that many dino sciences is some penways from this came helping telling they take massive than titans and as bevels.
In 2010, scientists determined the color of a dinosaur. Fossilized melanosomes revealed Microraptor had iridescent black feathers like a modern crow. The image of gray, scaly dinosaurs is a relic. The real animals were as spectacularly
in many cases, as visually spectacular as any bird alive today.
66 million years ago, rockaprox are born into reporters and on traded to limbenestine thousand and on macrosers are created sealing examine assists. In forest site or in their tap green catch knowledge wine or storm.
In a single second, within minutes, the impact site when Mexico was a crater 30 kilometers deep. Within hours, superheat ignited global firestorms. Within months, the sun was blocked. Within years, the food chain had collapsed. 76% of all species on Earth were gone.
But not everything died. The survivors share in trait. They were small, then kissed as allowed. Sumtikable travel them the churches these who treff reverse distas, these intermolded vinces allowed them to mat their of distas.
Over the next millions of years, these survivors would diversify into the 10,000 species of birds we share the planet with today. The dinosaurs did not go extinct. They transformed.
The next time a bird lands near you, look at it. Really look at it, Yves. Not about the wishbone if a culture violate dinosaurs. 105 million years on that millennium
the most successful group of land vertebrates in the history of life on Earth. Not gone, not forgotten. Still here, still flying. The age of dinosaurs never ended. We just moved in. Thank you for watching Fresh Wild View. If this film moved you, if it reminded you that the wild world is worth fighting for, please share it. Subscribe, and stay wild.